Hello and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. In today's video we're going through the Outsmart the Barbarians scenario. So let's jump straight into it. So here we are selecting a spawn point, going right in the center here. We're just going to queue up a bit of eco, and our plan to begin with here is we're going to go air. Now this is a very unusual start, but we've got a lot of terrain to cover. As you can see on the map, this is normally a map for a team of 3 or 4 people, and we're here on our own. Now by going air, we don't require as much metal, so we're gonna build that. We're going to build a couple of more wind to cover the cost of us building, and then we will go straight into the air factory. The idea being is that we're going to get our engineers out as quick as possible. We're going to defend our front line basically just in front of our base, and then we are going to just get our engineers to go across behind our lines, mix up everything, and also trying to get some in the water as well, just to kind of give us as much metal income as possible. Then once we've got enough engineers out to kind of secure us, we're then gonna probably transition to something else. Okay, so right now we don't really have enough energy to be building air engineers because they are quite expensive. It's 3,000 energy, but wind is at a good point right now, so here we are. We're going to assist the factory, get it built. You can see our energy is going down pretty quick. But as you can also see, our metal's doing perfectly fine right now as well. So we're going to try and build a bit more wind power here, because we're going to need it. And with our second engineer there, you can see I've just got him going about. I'm going to get a radar up nice up and high, get some air defense built. So in this scenario, the enemy will be attacking you with basically everything: land, sea and air. So the reason why we're going to defend a bit further back is so that we don't necessarily have that crossing in the middle where they're going to be bringing boats through or stuff like that we're going to have to defend. Any wrecks that get created aren't going to obstruct our units moving. And we've kind of got... really, our base can only be attacked from one side of the water. So as long as we're kind of careful and cover all that, we should be good. Also, some units are not able to shoot in water because of the height of the water. So this means that if we have to fight across the gap, we'll have hopefully taken out any defenses or units on our side before we cross. Now, ideally, pushing this early would have been more beneficial. But when I say pushing this early, I mean pushing one of the AIs early would have been more beneficial. However, I have tried to do that a couple of times in this scenario, and every time it has not worked. So we're changing up the plan a bit this time. Enemy AI do tend to build quite a lot of air, so we are going to make sure we get some defenses for that. We may need to manual our commander here if that pawn goes elsewhere. So bear in mind, we don't have a radar in the base yet, so the only radar we actually have is from the commander himself. And we've queued up a couple of construction turrets now. Gonna get this guy to build the geo. Now, geos are quite expensive to make, to be honest with you, with their energy, but they produce a fair amount, so it's worth doing if we can. We've also got a lot of the trees there to reclaim for energy if we do need it. as I mentioned in the basics of building an economy video, is don't forget reclaim. Reclaim is quite important. Speaking of reclaim, on this map there are several large rocks. Those large rocks have a substantial amount of metal in, which is important to get. At this point, however, it's not rocks or it's not metal that we need. It's energy. So we're just using the commander here for a bit of trico. Partially building that radar, because those air defenses aren't going to do much if there's no radar. Same with the defenses there. Now, normally you'd be pushing your commander towards the middle, but as we've already kind of decided what we're doing here in terms of where we're going to set up our defensive line and focus our defenses on, we're just kind of going here. We're also building the scout there just to kind of see what's going on. Ideally as well, if we can get a fighter screen going, that would also help us not have to deal with any sort of air issues. But we will see what we can get done. So at the moment, we're probably doing the wrong thing here. We're building too much stuff. You can see I cancelled an engineer there. We were building too many things. We're building the geo, building the construction turrets, building the constructor, and building air defense and metal extractors at the same time. So there's way too many things. So yeah, we're going to be a bit slower here. We've got one engineer here going to build some some wind turbines after he's done that geo. On top of that, you've got the guy at the front that's building the radar jammer and some heavy laser towers, just preempting the enemy units coming in here. And there you go, we can see we're going to get a radar on that hill over there, get some air defense on the go on that side. I know these are just basic defenders. They're not, a great air defense, but they are super cheap and will do us for the meantime. And then we're queuing that engineer to also do all the mexes on that side. They probably won't get round to doing all that, but it's fine. We'll take it one step at a time here. Now this new engineer that's come out, he's just doing reclaim. We need more energy. Really, we need that geo built, which shouldn't be too much longer. We get the commander also to get some reclaim. There we go. We're actually wasting metal. So we're going to get him to assist instead. Okay. So, as we've got so much metal, we're going to need to start getting some units to help defend our front line here. So we're going to build a land factory. We're also going to send this engineer off here to the islands to the side. I'm going to get those metal extractors, get it to build a radar and some air defenses. Now, tip for your playthrough here. Would highly recommend at least building a laser tower on those hills. Reason being is the enemy has amphibious units, and if there's an amphibious engineer, they can just walk right up to you and just deconstruct your stuff. So I did not do that in this playthrough, and that is where I messed up. Also at this point I have no fighters, and so I kind of messed up here. Don't have almost lost an engineer. Luckily enough, those are just scouts, so that's fine, but I did stop them halfway through building additional wind. Built way too many land engineers there, but we are instantly going for tech to land, because that's what we're going to use to push the enemy. And there we go, we just lost that engineer to the north. Trying to get this done before that fighter comes over. Hopefully we can get it done and not lose the engineers. Oh, we lost one engineer. So that's 2 engineers now lost because we didn't get up our fighter screen. So that's, you know, a bit silly. That bomber's also going to get through. So not doing too well on that whole air defense front. You see we've got both islands on the go. Commander's kind of a bit idle right now. Going to get some Tech 2 engineers up and then we will start getting our units up. So we're going for a mixture of the tanks, the mobile pulsars and some flak. And then we'll also chuck in there a couple of radar jammers and radar vehicles as well so that we can actually see. And we're queuing up a patrol route here for our fighters. Going to put a bunch of fighters and a scout. The reason for the scout is because scouts also have radar and sonar is the main thing, so that they'll be able to see if there's any like amphibious units coming or anything like that. Okay, so our first Tech 2 engineer is out. Using the commander to get some reclaim and getting up my mexes. Again, we're kind of going through the thing here of probably building too much in one go.
Low power.
So we're cancelling our air production there. We need to get the Tech 2 units up. We need to get the air up and running. We need more wind power, sorry. This guy is now idle. We get him to just build mexes underwater. You see I'm manually clicking here. You could just literally do area mex, but I specifically wanted to do it in a certain pattern so that he came back towards me. Also notice I didn't go across the entire water there because, well, I didn't want to lose the engineer to a fighter if I can keep it as far back as I can. Now you notice as well I'm building an energy storage. I don't currently have any energy storage, so I'm going to get this one done so that at least if we start overflowing, because you know the wind speed changes or we're not building anything that requires energy at the time, that you know we're not losing that excess energy production. And there is something in the air, a bomber. Nice, and that dealt with that bomber. Perfect. Something else. Another bomber. And he took out those wind gens. So we're going to build some solars here. Just purely so that if wind dies, we don't lose all of our energy. And then we're going to get that engineer to also finish building our mechs upgrades and build a fusion. Once we've got that fusion, we're fine. And now on this side, closest to the base, we're building some torpedo defenses. This is just purely for any amphibious units so that we can shoot them before they come up. And as you see here comes a bunch of gunships, which that flak deals with really easy. And unfortunately, we lost that radar on the side there.
Low power.
Just queuing it up. Now it seems we've got Tech 2 before the enemy AI, which is good. We just need to keep going with that. We don't need any more Tech 2 engineers. Land-based ones, maybe air in a bit, might be useful, but we don't need it right now. Definitely starting to get quite a lot of fighters up. Gonna be trying a bit cheesy here and reclaim that engineer. Now that is a lot of tanks, and our Starlight is right in front, getting all of them in damage. So run, Mr. Starlight, please. Try and repair him. He's got no energy to fire right now, which is also why we're building that energy storage. Engineer's just chasing that engineer, slowly reclaiming him.
Low power.
Unfortunately, we might just end up losing him anyway, but yep, there's a fire. Yep. Which is unfortunate. But there's another reason why we built some land engineers, just because we don't want to deal with that. Right, so some steel metal there, but we don't really need it right now. We're kind of okay for that. We still need energy, which is our shortfall. We do have our Tech 2 engineer queued up for that purpose though. Now a fusion with this little energy, not necessarily the best call, but we do really need energy, and we do have some engineers here already doing reclaim, so it's not too bad. Definitely need more Trico. If you saw there very briefly though, it did say there was 5,000 metal in the rocks, so maybe getting air engineers and getting that reclaim and maybe going instantly to Tech 2, as long as you can afford the energy, not a bad shout. And there you go, see, amphibious guy is called up and he is just taking that island, but it's fine, we've had it for quite a while, it's definitely paid for itself metal cost wise. Okay, we're going to start pushing forward with these units here. Realistically, we only want the starlight firing. Our fusion's about to be done. Cool, fusion's up, and now you can see our power is no problem at all. We're going to build another fusion, and then eventually we're going to start getting the Tech 2, proper Tech 2 economy on the go. We could probably do with Tech 2 air engineers at this point. We've got so many metal extractors here that need to be upgraded. That would be a lot quicker if we had, well, Tech 2 air engineers. That bomber just does something annoying and kills our mechs just as it's about to be built. Starlight's doing a great job here. Need to be careful that the Starlights don't get overrun by the little units. Literally, a bomber comes, we kill it. Definitely getting more air defense. Third time's the charm on that metal extractor. Now, what I am noticing here is the enemy is starting to get some boats, the yellow enemy on that north side. So we do need to be a bit careful of that. Getting a couple of those Tech 2 engineers to assist to each. Okay. Just gonna get some Tech 2 defenses on the front line. It's only a matter of time until they get Tech 2. At least if we've got those defenses, if something does come up on the shores, we can move those units to assist. We can't just be building static defenses, you know, that's not gonna cut it. We need that mobile defense if needed. As you can see here, we're starting to get a bit of a fighter screen up, and it also said Tech 2 units detected somewhere.
Metal extractor lost.
That's more the extractors that are on the cliffside bits getting killed. There you go, there's a hound there. That will be the Tech 2 units. See, again, we can't really push with these until we get those bots, not bots, the radar units. Always keep these starlights behind. There we go, see, now we push them off that with quite a bit of ease. But as you can see, the radar range doesn't even go into that water, so that's a bit of an issue. Gonna build some LLTs along this like coastline, just in case. And a bunch of metal extractors up. Gonna get some air defense up as well. Now you don't just build just Mercuries, because it's quite easy to have, you know, your Mercuries just shoot all of their ammo and waste it. For example, you could just spam Tech 1 scouts into the Mercuries if you're playing PvP. And then, you know, your bombers, your atomic bombers or something, get through with ease. And so you want to be a bit careful with that. So building flak and Mercuries is best, because then you kind of cover everything. Also, if someone sends a load of, like, you know, Tech 1 bomber spam, then you don't have to worry about it. We have Tech 2 gunships there as well. And they are walking units onto our base. The blooming amphibious stuff. And to the south as well, actually. I just saw an amphibious engineer going up there. And we're going to add those radar and stuff. I wanted to make sure I had a decent amount of units first before doing that. Because there's no point having radar if you don't have the actual units to make use of the radar. I'm going to use our commander here just to deal with this. But it does show there is a big hole in our defences here. If that engineer can just walk onto our land. Okay. So we're just trying to amass a decent group of stuff here, waiting for the things to come out. Now, I removed the patrol route from the fighters that we had before, because they were going over the water and just getting killed. So we're going to try and, like, somewhat manual them if needed. So our economy is looking pretty good right now. We're only running on, you know, 2 fusions. We do have the geothermals, which are quite a lot of energy coming out of those, so that's good. We're kind of just waiting for the radar jammer and the radar vehicle to come out of a factory before we start moving. There is some subs in the middle there, which obviously we have no way of shooting. So they shouldn't be doing that much damage. We should be fine. Just building more air defense here. On one of the times I attempted this map, I got absolutely destroyed by air. So this time around, I may have been a bit over the top with air defense, but at the same time, I did not want to risk losing it. Another thing you'll notice that in the middle of my base here, I'm building an anti-nuke. I always have a tendency of not building an anti-nuke soon enough, so again, this time around, I made sure I built one a bit earlier. So now we can't actually click to assist because the row units are outside the map, so we have to wait for them to come back in before we can do it. We sent some scouts over there. You can see they don't have any experimentals yet, but they have Tech 2 Air. They also have Hover. They have Tech 2 Vehicles, I believe, or it might be bots. The unit, the guy at the back. And we well and truly have control of our area, and that's the main thing. So now we're going to start pushing across. Meanwhile, bear in mind, we're still producing units the entire time in our base. And we will just keep with that. I've got the flak assisting the starlights, and the same with the radars, which is similar to the last video. That if you noticed, we had the radar assisting the fat boy. We're doing the same here now with the starlights. Although those torpedoes are actually not really doing much damage, they are gonna probably kill that radar jammer. Yep. And yeah, unfortunately, that is a bit of an issue because we kind of need radar jammers. At the same time, we need to make sure we're not going to get anything come up this hill right into our base. That's like the one place we don't want them walking right up, is right into there, so we can get some Tech 2 defenses there. Meanwhile, yep, you can see they're starting to push units towards us, Tech 2 tanks and hounds. We leave the starlights kind of in the back line to do their shots whilst we move the tanks. We also don't want the flank in there either. Just moving up them separately. See, there's a heavy laser tower there in the middle. Realistically, we don't actually have to take extra damage here when we can use the starlights to do it for us. Unfortunately, because we don't have the radar jammers here, they can fire at us with the long range stuff. But they will fire at the tanks that are closest forward. So as long as we keep those tanks in the front line, the starlights will just shoot everything. And we'll just dip the tanks in and out, slowly moving forward with our units. And we've done all this damage, and so far we've only lost one tank. Here come the gunships, which is why we have the flak. Now we've lost quite a few of these tanks. But we've taken out... Oh, nuclear missile detected. And that is why we had that anti-nuke. That would have been game over if we did not build that anti-nuke. So, yep. Anti-nuke is one of those things you probably want to build. It's like one of your first few things after you get Tech 2. Like, you get, you know, some of your economy on the go, and then you need to get an anti-nuke built. In PvP, obviously, you need way more than just one. But in PvE, it's not so much of a deal. Now, we're running a bit low on our like frontline tanks at the moment. So I'm a bit cautious about going too close. Also, that there was Tachyon. Boom, but the commander died, so that's good. And we're just going to pull back, right back, so we can get some reinforcements in. Also, I've noticed we're getting quite a few fighters just sat in our base right now. We're going to get another anti-nuke built, just in case. Don't want to risk losing our game here just due to the fact that we didn't build a second anti-nuke. I don't expect the AI to have that many nukes, but, you know, you can never be too safe, can you? Okay, so here we go. We're going to start queuing up this Tech 2 economy. Going to build a bunch of construction turrets so that we have more build power, and then we are going to get that advanced generator going. Here again, as soon as we started falling back, you notice that they're hitting those starlights, moving them behind the tanks again. Starlights have quite a long reload, so you need to bear that in mind. Again, using these tanks as, you know, frontline units. If we had some res bots, that would be great, because there's so many like wreckages there that we could do. Oh, there you go, another nuclear missile launch. We got that one as well. We got our first radar jammer across the water, so that's also good. So we could also go for the nuke route if we wanted to, but we've invested so heavily here into vehicles. And we've already taken out one of the AIs, so it makes sense. Now, those hovers, bit of a problem. Our Tech 2 defense is shooting at them, but they are making a bit of a hole. Need to be careful. There is Tech 3. That is very worrying. He was also right near my commander. Getting radar jammer up there so they can't just see everything. And we're going to build the pulsar here. And that should help deal with those hovers. Okay. Meanwhile, again, we've still got our tanks at the top, being perfectly fine. We did build a couple of repair bots, the Tech 2 tank ones, which are now at the front line there. And they are going to just repair all our units for us. They can also build stuff, which isn't bad. It kind of gives us some options if we need, which is kind of better than res bots. I don't tend to use them very often, which is kind of a bad thing on my part, because they are quite valuable. But yeah, so I gave them a try in this scenario. We currently have 3 anti-nukes stored, and they've just launched another one. So this is why I went about building a second anti-nuke here, just in case. Looked like that nuke was maybe coming from the back end, or maybe from red. It's hard to say. You can see I built a coastal defense there just to kind of try and deter some of those submarines. We get a bit of scouting on the go. There we go. I'm going to just assist that engineer that's like T2 mexing everything. Now, using land engineers to do a like metal maker economy runs into issues. They kind of get bogged down by themselves, get stuck. You get units like left behind. So transferring to Tech 2 Air is going to be something we will think about shortly. Although the fact that they have Tech 3 already is worrying. Don't know why it hasn't landed yet, but we'll build some torpedo defenses. At least that way we've got sonar. Not if it just gets missiled though. I'm going to start moving up again. We've had time for the repairs. Got plenty of starlights now as well. At this point we probably have too much air defense units. We've got 5 flaks here. We haven't actually seen much air at all in a little while now. I have a feeling that the front player that we killed was the air player, so might not really need to make any more of that. But yeah. Anyway, so you see I've grouped them into 2 groups there. Pulsars and radars and flaks at the back on 2, and my tanks on 1. Ideally, I really don't have enough tanks. There was another experimental there. Trying to rush that down. There we go. Pulsar's got it. There's another factory and a fusion gone. There's a bunch of Tech 2 units there. And a lot of res bots. Currently, actually, don't have enough power to fire all these. but they're mostly res bots, not enough tanks. So we are dealing with it, although because they have vision, they are killing our tanks with that long range artillery that they've got. A bit of damage in here. That is another pulsar. We are getting back from there. So instead we're going to move around to the north, I think is probably our best choice here. Lost the metal extractor somewhere. I believe it might have been in the water. Get a scout on the go. Move those defensive horses around there. There's a bunch of Tech 2 units. Which, not Tech 2, Tech 3 experimentals there. There is another Titan detected. At the moment they've got 3 experimentals out in the water, which is a bit troubling for us. We need to kind of make a dent quick with what we've got here. Now normally if this was a PvP game, for example, you would need to transition to Tech 3 yourself really quick. However, because we have units like right outside of his base right now, I feel like we've kind of got a bit of an advantage here, that if we can push with what we've got here, we should be alright. The laser units we have are very, very good at you know, killing large single units. So those Tech 3s, for example, it will deal with them really quickly. So we just need to keep it in mind, basically. If stuff comes for us, we kind of just have to absorb damage with the tanks. Sending our reinforcement wave up. There is that Tech 3. Now that Tech 3 specifically is actually not that strong. It's quite a flimsy one. That one, on the other hand, is worrying. We're going to cloak our commander here, and we are going to attempt to degun it. If we don't do it, we may be in trouble here. But it's fine, we got it. All we lost was well, a chainsaw and a Tech 2 pop-up defense. It's not that big a deal. Okay. Gonna get some repairs on these units again while we wait for those reinforcements to come up. Still had some scouts left, so we're gonna scout what's at the top. Got our first set of metal maker economy. That was another nuke. Ah, they nuked our reinforcements. Right. Well, yeah, there's not much we can really do against that. Interestingly enough, that unit seems to be outside of the too high for the water there. So I'm going to build a bit more defenses on this side here in case they come up with another one of those units. Going to get yet another anti-nuke queued up just in case. Get more torpedo defenses for the sonar function. Our commander could build a radar in the water, but considering that, you know, radars are like super flimsy, yeah, it's not great. Torpedo defenses actually never used to have sonar, and it was added not that long ago, actually. Okay, I'm just waiting again for this set of reinforcements to move up. Move these guys a bit round. See, there's an advanced fusion up there. A lot of advanced fusions. That looks very explosive. Boom. There's a big chunk of red space gone. Now, that thing that's shooting at us is not good. pretty sure that is a flagship. See, yep, flagship in the middle. Now, that is not good. We don't have much to deal with that because we obviously don't really have anything in the water. We're gonna get some shields up as a priority. If that flagship comes around, we need to be able to defend against it. Meanwhile, we need these guys to get in there. So we're gonna just spread them out a bit. See what we've got. We don't have much in the way of actual tanks left. I'm going to build a radar here in case we lose our radar vehicles, and we're going to use the ability that this thing can build, and we are going to build a Tech 1 land factory. We're going to use that to build scouts that we're then going to just spam into the enemy and see how far they get. It will give us a bit of intel on where the defenses are, and yeah, just to give us a bit of vision there. Bear in mind again, the pulsars that we have can only shoot if they can see stuff. So by spamming these scouts, not only does it use the enemy's defenses kind of like shot, it also gives us a bit of breathing room for our other units and provides vision. It's going to take a little while to get this done. Thought I did have another one of those units somewhere, but I can't seem to... Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm just not using the other one, apparently. Again, got a decent mass here of Tech 2 units. Probably don't need as many radar jammers and radar units anymore. Where that flagship's gone, I do not know. And here we go, we're going to transition to Tech 2 Air. Oh, there's the flagship. And it made the mistake of getting really close. And that was a big mistake. Also, luckily enough, one of our shields went up. So that's the flagship gone. So that was a big worry that we now don't have to worry about. So lucky for us. Again, using this these tanks here to just, well, tank damage for us. I think we're going to lose that tachyon though. No? No, we're lucky. Awesome. That's Titan dead. There we go. Just going to set a scout route around there. And then just start to move these guys forward. That way the pulsars will just slowly kill everything. They actually had an anti-nuke as well, which is interesting. We need a bit more rate of fire of the scouts, so we can put some construction turrets there. And there goes... I believe that was Red's commander. Unfortunately, because it's a team game, you have to kill all enemy commanders, so we still need to find one of them. It's probably Yellow, who's out in the sea somewhere. But we still need to finish off this red base first before we can really do anything. I'm just slowly creeping up our lasers here. We've taken care of their tech-free factory, which is good. Just circled the spots of two of their potential tachyons. At this point, we don't really need any more land units. I think what we've got up there is probably enough to deal with it. Might take a little bit longer than just rushing stuff through, but what we need now is stuff that can hit the water, which means we need some air. Now you can see there, that's literally what I was on about. That engineer is now just stuck, And completely useless. Okay. Scouts are starting to get a bit further in. Gonna build maybe a couple more construction turrets. And because we're radar jammed here, they actually don't know where we are to come at us with. Gonna build a radar jammer right here on the front line so we can move our units a bit further forward. Ironically, it's the heavy laser tower that's killing the scout. There are reinforcements that we had that we don't really need much of anymore. Gonna get a couple more Tech 2 engineers, Tech 1 engineers rather, just so they can build construction terrace for us. There's a lot of res bots around there as well. Was a lot of res bots around there. Also some form of artillery unit we can see there as well. Radar jammers up again. The new one. Okay, and now we can move a little bit further forward and start taking out their stuff. The laser tower's not really a worry for us, but I mean, it's gone instantly, so it's fine. There's that Tech 3 that was bombing us. Now notice the scouts are starting to get further and further in. The advanced geothermal goes up almost like a nuke. That is a lot of units down in that bottom way though. However, this is almost all of the land gone. Again though, at this point, we don't really want to rush our tanks into all of those fat boys, so we're going to use the long range units again. Although we need to be careful that we're not just going to get splash damaged when they shoot the scouts. But we're popping them pretty quickly. So yeah, at this point, red's out. Orange is out of the game as well. It's just really yellow we've got left to deal with. We are wasting resources quite a lot here. Kind of just because these guys are just moving around, not actually building. If you notice, there's also a energy plant that hasn't been built there either. Yeah, we could just do everything a little bit better right now, which we are not doing. Just changing the order here of where these things go. And going to start getting all of these resources that are on this side of the island. Not that we really need it, I don't think. With, you know, with all the land under our control, I don't think we really need to worry about it. We're just going to push forward with these units and just shoot anything that comes at us. And that can just do its thing. Last thing I want is, like, you know, a bunch of fat boys and a Tech 3 unit just walking down into my base. So yeah, I figured it's better to just deal with them. Here we go, we've built a bunch of gunships here and they're just going to go and attempt to clear the water for us. However, they do have quite a lot of air defense, and there's also quite a lot of navy stuff there as well. Some hover tanks as well. It's definitely the powerhouse on this one. We don't need those scouts anymore. Gunships are still alive somehow, which I'm kind of surprised about. They're just tearing away. Actually doing quite a good job. Again, we'll just send more of them down. That's basically what all of our build power is going into right now. We're going to get some torpedo ships and some scouts so that we can deal with anything that's underwater, because if the commander is underwater, the only way we're going to be able to kill it is with torpedoes. So that's what we need. And then we've got these air engineers here to replace the land ones that were there to begin with, because they are just not very good. But do we need more economy right now? No, probably not. At the same time, should you ever stop building an economy? Probably not. You have no idea what your enemy has. For example, the yellow could have all of those mexes, Tech 2. He could have a bunch of economy, and he could have like 4 flagships. He could have a bunch of Tech 3, and he could literally walk onto our island. And all they've got to do is kill our commander, right? So it's not like unquestionable. So the more stuff we can pump out, the better. Accidentally built a bit too many engineers there. See, red still somehow got land units. And we're just going to area mix the entirety of the land there. And they do have a lot of subs. That is a lot of subs. Oh, enemy commanders to the south. Boom. We got him. And that's it. So luckily enough, we didn't have to clear up the north side of the water at all, which was good because they had a lot of air defense there. So, yeah, as you've seen, just take your time. Make sure you get all of the economy on your land. And then transition to Tech 2 and push through probably with land units. You can go bots if you want. I just prefer to go vehicles because of the starlights, as you've seen. Okay, that's it. So thank you all for watching. See you guys next time.